On this week's episode of Nikon's Birding Adventures TV, we're in Willacy County in southern Texas, at the southernmost tip of what used to be the King Ranch, an area famous for some very special birds. On this week's episode, we're going to be looking for some specialty birds of the area, but in particular, we're going in quest of our golden bird for this episode, the spectacular ferruginous pygmy owl.
Let's go birding!
I'm a huge fan of South Texas. You know, the bird diversity here is unparalleled anywhere in North America. And this isn't the first time that I've been down to South Texas. In fact, the last time I was here was about 2 years ago, and I was here with birding expert and renowned author, John Dunn.
Probably if you were to pick one area in North America that has more specialty birds, it would be the Rio Grande Valley. There are others like Southeast Arizona, South Florida, Southern California, but the Rio Grande Valley has a combination of a species that reach the northern terminus of their range from Mexico, in addition to having a combination of both east and western species.
Two of the highlights from my last filming trip down in this part of South Texas was having the opportunity to go birding from horseback, and also having the fantastic privilege of going out with the National Wildlife Refuge officials to go and track the Ocelot, one of the rarest cats in North America. This is very exciting. We're deep in the heart of Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge with Ocelot researcher Jody Mays. We're going to go out and try and see if we can find Ocelot with telemetry equipment. Ocelot is one of the rarest mammals in the United States. There's probably only about 50 ocelot left in the United States. We're going to try and see if we can pick up a signal. Let's go.
These are remote troop cameras that will photograph any animal or anything that comes up towards this guzzler, which is a rainwater catchment system to provide water for wildlife during drought conditions. We've gotten photographs of all kinds of stuff coming up here. Quite a diversity. Birds, snakes, armadillos, ocelots, javelina, all kinds of stuff. The ocelot is kind of a habitat specialist a little bit compared to the bobcat, say. The ocelot, if you see a photograph of one or look at one, they have a real strong pattern on their pelt of spots and streaks and bars, and that's an adaptation to this kind of habitat. The ocelot is extremely endangered in the United States. I think you mentioned already that we think there are fewer than 50 individuals left in the whole United States, and those are all in South Texas. Oh, there he is. If you can hear that beep, that's a male ocelot that we have in this area. You can pick up this radio collar signal. This is specialized equipment to pick it up. You can pick it up from roughly a mile away. Based on the strength of this signal, I'd say he's only a couple of 100 yards away from where we are now.
Great stuff. Well, thank you, Jody.
Sure.
Isn't it incredible to think that here we are, right in South Texas, in the home of one of North America's most endangered mammals, the ocelot. This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Hobie Polarized Sunglasses, the world's best polarized sunglass. South Texas is renowned for having some of the best raptor viewing in all of North America, with many species that reach the northern limits of their range in South Texas. Birds like white-tailed hawks, white-tailed kites, Harris's hawks, crested caracaras, and the reintroduced and stunning-looking aplomado falcon. When we looked for the aplomado falcons the last time I was down here with John, we scoured some of the roads and looked for the birds sitting on the pylons, and we were very lucky to get a pair of these fantastic raptors 2 years ago right here in Willacy County.
And hold on, I see something up ahead on the...
Those two birds up there?
Yeah, those two birds.
Okay,
Let's get
let,
over and get
let's
a quick
pull
look.
over. They look about right, don't they?
They do. One's a lot bigger than the other, but let's get a look here.
Okay, I'm just going to stay a little bit far away so that we can try and get a shot here.
Oh, indeed. They're aplomados, and the size difference, the male's a lot smaller than the female that's with it.
Yes, we've got them, I think.
Great.
This is great.
go.
Okay, I'm just going to pull into this, it looks like there's a side road over here.
Let's be safe.
Just going to pull in here, just get off the road. We don't want to have any accidents. We've got to be safe birders. This is exciting stuff. Alrighty. I'm going to stop over here, John. Rather view them from a distance first, and then we'll try and get closer. This is awesome stuff. Alrighty. Woo! We've got a pair of aplomado falcons here, sitting on top of this post behind us, overlooking this coastal plain habitat. Two of them sitting together. I'm getting awesome views through my Nikon field scope right now. Dead on the female. This bird gets its name from the Spanish aplomado, which means lead colored. And if you look at the coloration on its wings, it's got that bluish lead-colored coloration on the wings, which gives it its name. In fact, the old name for aplomado falcon was orange-chested hobby. And also, if you look at this bird, you can see it's readily identifiable by this orange chest. It's also got a black band around the breast and the belly region. Absolutely beautiful bird, the aplomado falcon. And now coming back a second time to Willacy County in South Texas, again, I had the opportunity of getting really close to a beautiful aplomado falcon in a more natural setting, right on one of the ranches here in Willacy County. Yes, aplomado falcon. We've been riding around all morning on these 4x4 quad vehicles, and boom, we've got aplomado falcon sitting on the top of a tree here. When we first found it, it actually flushed with a great horned owl, and now it's flown off in the distance, and we're going to try and get a look at this baby. Awesome bird, and a great conservation success story. Seeing aplomado falcons in South Texas is not just a privilege from a birding standpoint, but also from a conservation standpoint, because this really is a fantastic conservation success story. These birds that have been reintroduced here to South Texas are now thriving once again in an area where they were all too common not so long ago. The ranches in Willacy County, South Texas, are really good birding locations because they have a lot of water, and it's right next to the Laguna Madre, and we had the opportunity to head out from Port Mansfield into the Laguna Madre and do some birding by airboat. If you want to see sheer numbers of birds, heading out into these backwaters by airboat is the way to do it. Just hundreds and hundreds of roseate spoonbills, white pelicans, there were curlews everywhere. I mean, there were birds in every direction that you could look. Let's hit it. Now, Willacy County is an excellent place to view raptors, but a visit to Willacy County just wouldn't be complete without a quick trip down to the Laguna Madre and the Port Mansfield area to have a look at some of the most incredible shorebirds and waterfowl in North America. This was a great experience being out here. very few people can actually get out to access these islands because the water here is literally a few centimeters deep. It's very, very shallow. There are no roads coming in here, and for exactly this reason, there are so many birds here. I mean, we're seeing flocks of 100 long-billed curlews. We're seeing great flocks of roseate spoonbills, big, massive flocks of white pelican as well. This is a great, great experience, and you know, it's also nice to hear. I'm sitting here with Chuck. He says to me that there's almost no airboat traffic in here. All the fishing spots are further up, so all these birds are really protected. This has been a special experience on the Laguna Madre, close to Port Mansfield. This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917, and by Audubon Guides, nature at your fingertips. This morning we're heading out on these 4x4 quad vehicles in the El Sauers Ranch in the Napales Division here in South Texas. We're going to head out this beautiful mosaic of different landscapes, different habitats. We're going to see what we can find. This morning we're very privileged to be joined by some of North America's very best birders. This is the Nikon Pro Staff. Let's get out there and see what we can find. Let's go birding. Some of the highlights from a general birding standpoint were seeing a pale morph reddish egret hunting and doing its fantastic dance, chasing a fish over the mirror-like estuary, and then also seeing a soarer rail right in the open with a young juvenile close to the reed bed was also something that you don't see every day. You know, Willacy County is such a diverse place. Not only do you have the beautiful Laguna Madre, but you also have these big expanses of ranchland, which have some very, very nice and diverse microhabitats. Open grasslands, mesquite thickets, mixed woodland. This area has so much to offer. Come down to South Texas and Willacy County and see it for yourselves.
I think one of the greatest things about belonging to the American Birding Association is that you meet people who can help you find out about places like these ranchlands here in Willacy County, who can bring you down here or at least tell you where to go on your own, and you can have these experiences. You can see a side of America that I think most people miss, and it's just a wonderful, authentic side, and I just think it's a privilege to be part of.
This Birding from the Edge segment is brought to you by Nikon, manufacturers of the Edge line of optics.
We're out here with Trinity Oaks, about to do some alligator guard fishing here in the sloughs. It's all brackish water. It's possible if we're going to catch maybe some catfish, some alligator gar, or maybe even some redfish.
This is Birding from the Edge. This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917, and by Hobie Mirage Drive Kayaks. Enjoy nature effortlessly. You know, coming down to this ranch in South Texas for the Nikon Pro Staffers retreat, I had no idea we'd be seeing ferruginous pygmy owls. I mean, they do occur in this area, but the owners of the ranch had no idea that these owls were on their property. So I was sitting at the pool, watching some raptors fly over during migration, and I hear the shouting, ferruginous pygmy owl, ferruginous pygmy owl. And right at the entrance to the ranch, Moaz, one of the Nikon Pro Staffers, had located a ferruginous pygmy owl. And I ran over there with my scope and I I tripped in a hole and twisted my ankle and somehow kept going, and eventually we got to this beautiful pair of ferruginous pygmy owls. And it turns out later that afternoon, the guys located a second pair as well, showing that they are very common here in South Texas if you know where to look.
Guys, look, it was opening its bill. Tiny little shrike-like bill. It's looking down, probably where it dropped its prey, and up again at that white-tailed hawk that went over. Excellent stuff.
Guys, turning its head. So when it turns its head, look at those false eye spots on the back. That might give a predator something to think about if it's sneaking up from behind it.
Wow, this is awesome. I haven't seen one in Texas for like 10 years. I totally didn't expect to see it here on this ranch. That is great. Oh, it just turned around. Look at its tail. It's like reddish brown. That's where it gets the name ferruginous from.
So Matt, that was a lifer, right? First
Yes.
time to see ferruginous pygmy owl. What is it like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, not something I expected at all. Trying to find this little thing, it's like, you know, a camouflage pop can in this thick stuff. You take your eye away, you miss it. But so yeah, really exciting to actually get to track it down, and awesome to get to share it with all the pro staffers for sure.
You know, the ferruginous pygmy owl is just really special to me, and I think, you know, every birder who comes down here to South Texas to see it has their own story. I, you know, ate real Mexican food. I met all these people. I wound up even meeting my wife down here. So, you know, and in a funny way, I don't think any of that stuff would have ever happened to me if I hadn't come down here to see this habitat and these birds. So I think every birder who comes down here to see this bird and all the great South Texas brush birds is going to come away with their own story. And some of it will have to do with birds, but a lot of it will have to do with very special people in a very special area.
Wow, that is just spectacular. We've got ferruginous pygmy owl here, the second smallest owl in North America after the elf owl, here in South Texas, just south of the King Ranch, in fact. And I thought we were never going to find this bird. It's normally found in these oak mottes on King Ranch, but right here we're finding it in these mesquite thickets. And I was all the way back at the camp. Moaz and the guys found it out here. They ran back, they got me. I bit it in the dirt trying to get here, twisted my ankle. And what you'll notice about it is, for a small owl, look how big those feet are. Unlike the elf owl, this tiny owl will take much larger prey, hence those oversized, disproportionately large feet. It's got those bright yellow eyes. It looks really fierce. And in fact, we saw a couple of hawks fly over, a white-tailed hawk, and even a turkey vulture, and you can see the way it looks up. This tiny little owl extends with a little finger up into South Texas and a little finger up into Arizona, and then it extends all the way through Mexico, South America, and Central America, where it is actually exceedingly common. So stoked to have got that. Our golden bird for this show, the ferruginous pygmy owl. Yeah!
The crazy thing about looking for ferruginous pygmy owl here on this ranch was that the owners of the ranch knew that there were some little owls around, but they had no idea that they had ferruginous pygmy owls on their property. And this is more a hunting property, so people come in here and they hunt and they fish. So to see these owners really excited now about the fact that they have a ferruginous pygmy owl was really rewarding. The Nikon 2012 Pro Staffers Retreat was a fantastic blast, having all these guys like-minded together at a ranch in South Texas. We'd like to thank the ranch owners. We'd like to thank Trinity Oaks for their amazing hospitality. These guys are accustomed to having hunters and fishermen on their ranch, and it was really amazing to see how quickly they adapted to having a bunch of crazy birders running around their property looking for birds and trying not to trip over rattlesnakes. This bird banding segment is brought to you by Nikon's Monarch 7, the greatest monarch ever, and by the South Florida Bird Observatory. The South Florida Bird Observatory is situated in Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park, and on a daily basis during fall migration, 20 nets are set up and birds are safely banded and documented for very important research on bird migration. A staggering diversity of birds are banded every year here, from warblers to flycatchers to buntings and even to birds like the Chuck Will's widow. On this bird banding segment, we'll be catching up with Michelle and Angel to feature a new species each week.
Black-billed cuckoo, second one we've ever banded in 10 years.
Wow, this is super exciting. Michelle's got a black-billed cuckoo here, only the second record for this banding station in 10 years. Let's check it out. Nice black-billed cuckoo.
Big eyes. I think they're common somewhere in the northeast, but they're not common at all down here. We have the yellow-billed cuckoo, which has more red here and the yellow in the beak and is a little bit larger. And we also have the mangrove cuckoo down here, which is a little bit different. So the three cuckoos, this is the rarest in Florida.
Black-billed cuckoo. This is what makes Michelle happy, is when she gets the frosting on the cake. And this is the frosting on the cake. This noisy guy, black-billed, very rare in Florida. So this is a great record here for the South Florida Bird Observatory. Just let this guy go. Very cool.
Station floor, heading back to a place you've never been before, and it's hard to be happy and